Hello and welcome to episode 194 of the Talking Wednesday podcast. It's Dex and Punk today that are going to talk you through all of the Sheffield Wednesday news, including a win.
Yep.
There's a win.
Yeah, there's a win.
But then there was a loss in the Steel City derby. But this is a podcast, not an immediate match reaction straight away. So, Jake, I have to start this podcast with, what is on your chin?
I put my beard beads in for a change, and I haven't done them in a while. And
I have never seen them, and I'm scared.
They have been in before, but I don't think they've been in on a pod. I just thought I'd put them in, and I like them.
I'm not mocking you. I'm just, I've
please,
never seen them, and it took me by surprise.
You don't need to do that. I've had enough of that all week.
From your wife, by any chance?
No, just by football fans in general.
All right, fair enough. Okay, well, at least we've done that there. I can't say anything. I wear headbands, mate. So it's people always say, "Oh, are you in the Rolling Stones?" That sort of thing. And I'm like, no, it's just
you do suit a bandana though. You suit a bandana really well. You got that.
Well, it goes with a lot of my gig outfits as well, so it works. But yeah, I like them because they get you. You've got long hair. It kind of gets your hair out of your face without tying it up.
You used to use them a lot in kitchens. Have a bandana. Yeah, have a bandana and then have a hairnet over the top. Because I don't know. I don't know if you know this. I used to have long hair right down to my backside that was bright blonde when I was like 16 to 19.
Yeah.
So
and that would be a problem in the kitchen.
Yeah,
so you'd have it saves you tying your hair up because genuinely, like, I'm pushing 30, mate. I don't want to be tying my hair up all the time and trying to tempt fate of pulling it all out. Do you know what I mean? So it's a case of
if I do that.
Yeah, exactly. I'll put a bandana on or something like that, and it just keeps the hair out of your face. But yes, enough about that. How has your week been, mate?
You know what? Not too bad. It's been decent. We're trying to look at like getting Hunter into some childcare. And it's becoming difficult because we realised Hunter's at that age where we're going to struggle for childcare because it's all the COVID babies that are now getting in. So it's like,
of course.
There was a big boom, wasn't there? So we're like, where's got a face? And one of the things that at the minute it seems like Sarah may actually take her to childcare at work they got for her and then bring him back. But my only issue is with that, she had to leave in the morning at 5:30 to get to work for 7. I'm like, that's a long day for a little one. So we're trying to figure that out. But it's not been too bad. I've been doing the Christmas shopping and birthday shopping now, so it gets that time of year. It's just I'm just sick of waking up in the dark. I'm seriously thinking about those lamps you can get that like give you like fake sunshine
of the sunlight. Yeah.
I'm thinking about getting one of them because it's actually really depressing me a little bit. And I do have the sad diagnosis, but I just forgot how bad it is, kind of thing when it comes to it.
Yeah, I'm on a job across in Middlesbrough at the minute, and when I'm driving in the morning, it's dark, and that's not fun.
I also had to deal with my when you plan things and you think you've planned this really badly. I planned yesterday for my mum to come over, and don't get me wrong, I've got a good relationship with my mum, but with my mum, too much of her can be a bit too much for me and my F&D. But I hadn't seen her in about 3 months, so I hadn't mentally prepared myself, and normally they come on a Sunday, but because the game, I was like, come on a Saturday. And my brain wasn't braining. I made a cup of tea and made coffee in the same mug and gave it someone.
Snake bite, but coffee and tea.
Yeah. I don't remember. And my mum was drinking it. This doesn't taste right. It's like, what do you mean? And I realised you didn't want coffee, you wanted tea. I put it all in the same mug. Deal with it. I'll sort you out later. But apart from that, it's not been too bad. My big week's all this week because I'm a sad git like Farming Simulator, and the new one comes out on Tuesday or Wednesday. So I'll be playing that to death. But been enjoying the COD. as well, because we like to have a bit of gaming chat in this bit. I really do enjoy COD.
Yeah.
I just not got enough time in the day to do it, because every time.
No, we're only sort of doing like Friday, Saturday night, and we didn't do Saturday night because my mate's a Liverpool fan, so he was watching the Liverpool game last night.
How's your week been?
Yeah, all right. Actually, I've been exhausted this week. It's busy work. I've obviously taken another day work, and my body sort of like went. By the end of the week, I was like, "Oh, this is as much as you can do physically at the minute." Like, because I used to do a lot more, didn't I?
Yeah.
But like, my body was like, "Nope."
Your body got used into like semi-retirement for your body.
Because obviously a lot of my work has moved. I've moved a lot of my work onto the from here basically, but being in the field more again is physically jarring, because it's not like unfit either. It's just more of a case of more driving mentally, getting back to where I was a couple of years ago, is getting your brain around it.
I think for you, for what your job is, you don't think there's a lot of moving, but when you actually look at it, there's a hell of a lot of moving and setting up.
Yeah.
Because
I did.
You don't think of it that way.
I did. I'm doing. I did like 600 miles last week, and that's not a lot, to be fair, but it's a fair amount more than I was doing.
It's a lot. It's a lot for you who got a Japanese car that every mile go, please don't be expensive.
That's fine. My Japanese car is lovely. It's
actually, you were worth when you had your French
70
car.
mpg in that. It's great.
You were better when you had your French and German car, actually.
Don't. The French car is still going, you know.
No!
It is. It's got like 180 on the clock, and it's still alive. And I don't understand.
How is that still running?
I don't understand. Because most of those are dead now. You don't see many of them on the roads. You do see a few. Since car prices have gone up, you see the petrol versions, but that was a 2-litre turbo diesel. Most of them engines have gone bang by now. And in fairness, I did have the engine apart 3 times. So
it's doing well then.
It had a lot of maintenance, which is probably why it's still going.
The only thing I do remember, it cleared my mind, is you coming in your mum's car and hitting that bloody rock that Jack moved. And you're like, oh God,
yeah, when I was in between cars.
And when you were lapped up, you dropped your very expensive microphones out the car.
My dad watches this podcast. He didn't know about that with The Rock. Yeah, Jack moved the bloody rock, didn't he? Yeah. And I had the bottom of it, and I was like, "What was that?" And it was just like, "Yeah, it was fine. It was underneath the car."
Yeah, fine. Can't say it.
Oh my God, Gordon's just nearly scored a world. Bruno Guimaraes just nearly scored a worldie. Sorry, I've got the football on after the podcast as well because I've just left the TV on. Yeah, that's the bad idea. Actually, I shouldn't have football on in the background because my eyes are going to be drawn to it all the time. But yeah, it's been busy, but it's been fun. We had I've got a balance of how I want to do it. Like the new work I've took on, I'll be honest, I've really enjoyed it. So yeah, keep doing it. It's going back to what I'm really, really good at without the hard parts.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Christmas. I want Christmas to be here now. There's a lot going on. So I kind of just want to wind down for Christmas, but we're way off that yet. I know it's been Halloween.
We're not that far away if you think about it. If you actually look at the calendar, it'll probably go quite quickly this year, I think. It will for me. I think it's going to go quickly and then it's going to be here because if you think about it, it was only 3 months ago season started and we're already at halfway point. So it's like you're at that point of going, you look at it as, I always look at it in football's term because you know when you get to December bit, you can kind of judge a season. So when we start getting there, you're like, okay, we're not doing too badly in the year kind of thing. Have you got much planned for Christmas or are you just doing your usual seeing here, there and everyone?
We're not spending as much time at home. We're spending quite a bit of time up here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will be out and about and around.
But we're doing the first ever Christmas we've ever done on Christmas Day at home. We've never done it. And it's now got to the point now we've got both kids. It's like, we need to do this where we're not trolling around everywhere. Where I can just pick Hunter up when he's finally had enough and go, you're going for a sleep, little dude. You're done. Kind of thing. Also, I love my kid, but I don't like him at the same time. McKenna did the same thing. Hunter now figured out the pitch that he can scream at that causes my seizures. And it's very irritating because he knows how to do it on command from McKenna. That's a problem.
McKenna's told him?
Yeah.
Or shown him?
Showed him.
That's quite dystopian that your children like, yeah, let's trigger his seizures. Let's watch him flail around like a salmon.
Well, you know what? You know why McKenna used to do it, don't you? I would say no to her having something. Then she'd do the scream. I've had a seizure and say, Daddy, can I have such and such while I'm in a really dizzy state, not knowing what I'm saying? I go, yeah, because I'm just trying to come to. And then she gets what she wants.
That's slightly
scary,
psychopathic, Jake.
I know. I know. Took me a good 3 months to figure out what she was doing.
Let's move into the football.
Yeah.
Let's talk Tuesday night first, shall we? So talk me through Sheffield Wednesday versus Norwich before we have to go into all of that stuff.
You know what? Tuesday night was fantastic because we actually came out like a team as really put that game behind us and really put that game behind us. I know for a fact that they were in Sunday morning early doors to talk about the game and where it went wrong. And we played absolutely fantastic. But the great thing about it is we started well. We didn't let Norwich come on the front foot. Ubbo had an excellent chance. And if you actually look at behind the match day, everyone going, me, it does actually look like the keeper saved it. Got a glove on the header. But the way he hit the header, where it looked like he cleared it off the line, I really do think that man's just missing a goal to his game for his confidence and he'll be gone. But we'll talk about that later. You're thinking, oh, it's going to be one of those games again. But what a ball by Marvin Johnson. That was just incredible. It really was just a really well-weighted pass. And Josh just waited, and bang, got his goal. Well deserved. And Josh Windass and Marvin Johnson have already got that kind of level of knowing where each other are going to be. It's very similar to Bannon as with Windass and Bannon. They don't need to look anymore. They just know he's going to be there. And you're thinking, right, can we keep this up? They did try and have some chances, but we did do well at defending. I thought Beadle did well at taking some of the balls away. I've noticed recently he's catching more of the balls than punching. I have noticed there's not as many punches going in at times, which I'm happy about because we both know. I think you're in the same mindset of me. A keeper should catch the ball instead of punch it. This modern day punching and parrying.
Yeah, it depends on the situation, but yeah, it's a case of with Beadle, it's an interesting one because he's 6'6". Sometimes he can punch balls that keepers wouldn't even be able to punch, so I don't mind it so much. But he also should be catching balls that some keepers couldn't catch because of his height and his reach.
I watched the Brighton game yesterday versus Man City, and I can see why Brighton sent him to us. You can see why he'd been sent to us again with the way they play. It's very similar. And I think in January, we might be looking for someone similar to that for Charles, the way we play and then do the same thing. But you're thinking, if we get another goal here, this is going to be really good for us. We got a goal from a set piece, James. A really good crossing as well. And it's a fantastic header by Iorfa. And Iorfa's not scored in 5 years. And that's a mad stat when you think how tall he is and how many corners we actually have in the box. He should have a lot more.
It's been 5 years.
It's been 5 years since he scored a goal. That's crazy. That was his first goal in 5 years. And what I absolutely loved about the celebration, he ran to the set piece coaches to say, this is yours, because they've been talking. You can tell. I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of people said, had the set piece coach done anything to improve it? I think they have. And there's little signs that you can tell it has, but it's not where people can see it and go, oh, it really paid off with goals. We are making more chances from them now, where beforehand they'd go in and we might not even get a head on it, it'd just roll out for a corner. or goal kick even. I think it's working, but I think it's one of those things that's slowly going to come together. Ugbo had a really good chance, took it well. Josh Windassam linked up well. He took it. It's a really good save by their keeper. And you're going in at half time and going, this is a really good result. Now we need to see that unit of having both halves of football come together. Because that is our issue.
It's worth mentioning, they've got the top scorer in the league.
Yep. Remember the last team we beat who had the top scorer in the league with West Brom?
Yeah.
And we kept him quite quiet to a point. I think he did actually score, but we managed to actually come away with the result.
And do you know who's after that?
Go on.
Coventry.
Yeah.
They've got the other top scorer in the league. So the top three are Norwich, Saints, Madger at West Brom, and Wright at Coventry. And we can keep teams quiet.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you look at the Coventry thing, they just sacked Mark Robbins, which I think is mad.
That is crazy.
I actually think that's a crazy, mad thing to do. Especially you heard who they're looking at replacing him with, possibly. They want to replace him.
Was it the Wickham one?
Yeah, they want to replace him with the Wickham man. Why would you? I don't get that one. I really don't.
No,
because
I don't.
I think Mark Robbins has shown he can have bad starts and then put you in a position right near the end. And I don't know if it's a case they're wanting a big change themselves, but it's mad. You think, but going back to our game, then Norwich come out a little bit better. They come out of the traps a little bit faster, and we look a little bit tired again. And I don't
look at the possession stats of the game, though, Jake. Like it's shown again that we don't always need possession to be dominant. They had 71% possession.
Yeah,
but if you look at that in terms of shots, we had more than double their shots, nearly triple their shots.
Yeah, exactly. I think possession stats can be very misleading to how a game is. A lot of people will see that team's had all the ball and gone, oh, right, they've had all the ball, then it means they must have been on top for it all. They did get a goal, but it was ruled offside, thankfully. Gassama came on and called a little bit of Pato level of wind up, let's call it that, because I thought that photograph of him being on the floor while they were trying to have a go at him was fantastic. And the thing is, we saw it out. There was a bit second half where they were coming forward and thinking, we can't let this drop again. We cannot have this keep happening. Attendances, I think it was 22,000 again. But Jack was at this game and he said, but like he said, for 2 tickets for him to go, it was 80 quid. There's a reason why the noise level at Hillsborough is low at the minute.
Yeah.
I think there's a mixture of people who've been forced out who cannot buy season tickets anymore. So it's way out of it. And they can't afford, that's the difference between a month food shop and going to.
Well, I'm in the funny position now of like, I'm obviously not going to buy a season ticket because I've moved to the Northeast.
Yeah.
Right. But I want to go to the games as much as I can, but there's less incentive there financially when how much I've got to pay for single match day pricing. Like,
you've also got to put in your traveller like petrol and stuff as well, haven't you?
Yeah, it costs a fortune.
Yeah.
But that's fine in certain circumstances. If it's like, because that's on me, right? The travel and stuff like that. If the tickets were 30 quid, even 30 quid, then I'd be like, all right, fair enough. Inflation, 35. I don't expect a ticket for 25 all the time now.
Yeah.
If the tickets were just a flat 30.
If the 30 quid, you and so could go, it counts as a little bit of a night out. Have a meal before and watch a game. Kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to convince Soph to go to a football match with me again would be interesting.
All right. She can take corner. She's bigger than the corner flag.
Oh, yeah. I can't believe you said that about Banner. That was so funny. But yeah, it was a good Tuesday night game, which leads us into the momentum of the Steel City derby. So, right, it's time. We've got to talk about it. Jake, talk me through the Steel City derby that we have witnessed today.
I think it was a game of 45s again. We had an excellent first 45 where we played some really good football. And I think the younger side in Sheffield United, I don't want to say they froze, but they weren't up for it yet. They needed like a firework to get them going. I thought we played some good little spell, but we just weren't.
The first half was so slow build up from United. I said it during the stream. It reminded me of the way England set up under Southgate. You know, pass. If that pass is not working, let's turn around, go back to our defence. We'll keep this high line. We'll keep the possession, but we're not really doing anything with it. And that kind of gave us some chances towards us. I really wish the first half hadn't finished when it did, because that sort of last 15 minutes of the first half, the pressure we were putting on, if we had, you know, the clinical finishers there, I reckon we'd have gone into the half a goal up. It felt like we could have done, but unfortunately, you know, you go against the team that have got the quality. Eventually, it's going to come back and bite you.
I think Ingolson was really good in that first half because he showed the battling quality that he got, and he did that versus Norwich. I think we're starting to find what his position is. Him and Windass playing as like two attacking mids, that works really well. Now, Windass did have a chance, and it was high, wide, and Hampson. And the problem is with this game, I don't want to say Windass went missing because he didn't, because he looked good in the first half. But again, it's this whole thing of two different halves. And first half, like Barry Bannon tackle he did, it was yellow and there was a flash point, but it was the only flash point of the whole game. Like it didn't feel like a derby. It felt odd.
It didn't, did it? It's, do you know, going into it, it's one of those that you look at it and you're like, United had to win that. They've got the better caliber of players. They've got the momentum. We're in a transition. There was a lot of pressure on them to win it, and they did. But the way they won it in the second half, I say, and some people disagree with this, I think they were the slightly better team in the second half. I do feel like we struggled in the second half. We tried to change it to go a little bit direct because we struggled to get our foot in. I feel in the second half, we started to have a couple of good spells towards the end. I think Gassama coming on made a big difference. But Gassama and Misaba, when they came on, they were good. But and the game was crying out for a bit of pace there because the way they were playing, they only had really one good chance, and it was a good chance. I don't blame us for the marking. I don't blame us for the way it happened.
Can I give you a comment from a Blade that somebody's left on my video? I think it's quite good as the Blade side. He said, I'll be honest, as a Blade, we thought a better team before you came into it after the 10-15 beat. You were the better team for the rest of the half. Bannon challenge was a bit naughty, but not a red. We came out the better team in the second half, and after we got good, we controlled it till the end. We coughed up possession, and easy toward the end, instead of seeing out more comfortably. Thought Charles was your best player. Thought Bannon had to hold back after the booking, though. On fair wins was decent. Also, though, you go more direct with the big uns. I'm happy we won, obviously, but a draw was possibly the right result. That's our 10th clean sheet. Can't see this result defining your season. You're comfortably mid-table. And that's from a Blade. I
agree. Yeah. That is a level-headed, rational look at what we just saw. It's weird because every other Steel City derby, I felt anger or I felt on the back of a performance. That one, I was like, take Sheffield United out of it, and it's very difficult to do. But if I did, I'd be like, right, team where they are, what are they now? They're going for the title. Yeah, the joint top after that. You know, they knew they could get pushed up there. The sort of performances that they've been on, you know, they've won their last 3. They've got a really good home form. It's going to be a difficult game when you think about it as well. Like the parachute payment money and the quality they've got in their side, all it takes is a moment. And that's what they had. They had a moment.
It was a moment.
It was a moment. And when you've got that, when we've got like Ugbo's not fully firing at the minute, I don't think our system fits him perfectly. I think we need to sort that out. But it's a case of, we are in a transition for mid-table. We said we'll take anywhere around sort of like 18th this season. Yeah. It's about staying up and building on what we had last season and not scrapping around for relegation, which is what we're on.
For the goal, the only criticism I can give is maybe Beadle should have come out a bit faster and tried to smother it and made himself big. That's it. That's the only criticism. But to be fair,
it's like the way they switched it, right? It goes past Valerie, Beadle's coming in for it, and Bernardo coming in for it, and they both spot it at the same time. it's just the speed of it. It's very difficult. And that's the turning point of if against Watford, we crumbled there and we could have easily crumbled, but we did end up deciding to go more direct.
We did.
After that.
As soon as they went 1-0 up, we were rattled. We were giving away stupid free kicks. We were not keeping the ball. It took us a good 5-10 minutes to get back to our centre and go, look, calm down, go again. Danny was already looking at making changes quickly, which I was happy about. I liked that. He saw that as soon as the goal went in, he saw we were out, right, we need to make changes. We need to have this player come on. We need to have this. And they were all attacking changes. Some people will have gone, maybe he should have gone more defensive. I don't think so. I think attacking on this one was his right call. If Danny got a fault, it's that he doesn't have a defensive tactic yet. And that's something that...
He don't have his defenders.
No.
Let's be honest, Jake. Let's just draw a line there. The defense is injured.
Yeah,
our best defender, arguably this season, I will say, Famio, who's come on, is now injured for a long time.
I think one of the good things is that we have got Chalobah and Awitway on the graph now. I'd be very interested to see if Chalobah comes and makes a little bit of a difference in that midfield if he can stay fit. Just in the sense of freeing up and having that defensive cover in front of the midfield. But if you actually look at the second half, the only thing that I'm actually really annoyed about is that we had 10 shots on target and none on target. 10 shots altogether, none on target. That annoys me.
Yeah.
And that's something...
Kasama came on and changed the game. Like, he was up for it.
So did Masaba, to be fair. That run when he first came on was fantastic.
I just feel like if he'd have managed to cross that to low instead of like trying to stop
inside.
It. Yeah.
This
is what I'm saying. Inside forwards. Like last season, we were swinging in the crosses and Ugbo was poaching the goals. But now, every one of our bloody wingers is playing an inside forward sort of role, cutting in and trying to take the shot.
Generally, all we are looking for is a winger who can cross a good out or better.
But Masaba did it last season. I think, to be honest, it is part of Danny's identity. He wants to use inside forwards, but then why have we got Ugbo in the middle? If you brought in Ugbo to do what he did last season, he's not the right player for the system, and that's why it's not working, and that's why fans are getting on his back. I don't think Ugbo had a bad game. The problem is Ugbo just doesn't get the service he needs, and. But he frees up space around him as well.
Yeah, I made a joke at the start going, is it because he's had a haircut and it's been in his eyes? And the thing is, I think there's a part of me that's like, you look at what's going on with Wednesday, and it's like what you keep saying, and you've made it very clear every time. We're in a transitional period. Yeah. And I think a lot of people weren't looking at that.
I look at that game overall, and that reeked of it. It was a case of, we were in that game. And actually, I think an honest United fan would go, we're lucky to get the win there because a draw would be fair, from what we saw there. And I'll be honest, like when it happened a few years ago, right, and we lost, I was in a mindset of Wednesday have been the better team. United had just come up. We should have been winning that match. But what we didn't realize at the time is we were on decline.
Yeah.
We didn't see it for what it was, but we were. That was the Wednesday decline. But now we are a team that are in transition, that had just survived last season, and we're in very different spaces. I would love to see a Danny team with the finances available.
Yeah.
That United have got.
That's the thing. He doesn't have the finances. And one of the things that's kind of annoying, and I'm not going to harp on it too much, but we're still embargoed and we got told if we're going to get paid immediately. That needs sorting during this international break. End of. Put a line under it, get it paid, get it sorted. Because the longer that goes, the more questions Danny gets asked closer to the transfer window, the harder that gets for us to not go, what's going on? There's a bit of a rife here. But I don't want to go over that because at the end of the day, I think it's going to have that situation. It'll get sorted, but it needs to stop happening. But when you look at what United have got, they are well ahead of where we are. They are where we want to be. And the thing is, normally we've had games after the derby and we've been bitten feathered because we lost or we haven't turned up. We turned up. It was just that little quality. maybe a daft it sound, if say we did get Pervader and Pervader with it, maybe he was the kind of player that could have opened it up. We don't seem to have a player who can get us off our feet as fans and go, oh, go for it. Like Pervader did. That's what he did really well. The only problem is he was made out of glass. And the problem...
Can I just give a shout out for Max Lowe today? I thought he was
well,
really good.
I think Max Lowe did well.
Yeah.
I actually thought Valentine wasn't that bad at times. He tried to... He's looking better. I think you've got a lot of players who are slowly just starting to find their... I don't want to say groove, but you know what I mean? They're trying to find where their place is in the squad. And it's slowly starting to show. Completely. But I think the thing is, I don't think it was as bad as some people have made. Like we had a bit of a debate in your stream.
Yeah, there was a couple, right? And I'm going to say this on the podcast. Wednesday aren't the team of the 90s, right? Someone encapsulated it brilliantly for me during the stream, actually. They said, I remember when we won a cup, when we were in a team that were in a division higher and we were a division lower. And I said, there's a reason that doesn't happen anymore. Because the gap between the Prem and the Champ is massive. Look at United last season. When they were in the Premier League, they stank it out, right? And now they're in the Championship and they're doing really well. Yep. So if you look at the teams that are lower in the Championship that don't have the finances, you just see how big the gap is from the Prem to the Championship now. And it takes something special like an Ipswich, which wasn't just special. They spent a lot of money doing it, right? In League One, which is why it doesn't get talked about.
They've got all their money back just by going up.
Exactly. They gambled and it paid off. But in terms of like doing it sustainably, it's very difficult. Now, United are going to benefit for many years from being potentially a yo-yo club. They're going to get the parachute payments.
West Brom did for years under Tony Pulis. And
that is going to be United. For the next few years, at least, they would be expected to beat us every time they play us. However, when they come to Hillsborough, if we've made a few additions,
January's going to be interesting.
Their team's relatively the same and they play a similar way, I'd fancy us for a shock result. I looked at that game today, and for the first time after a result, I'm not angry. I'm being level-headed about it.
Yeah, I'm not angry. I'm not disappointed. I think we put a performance in there. It was enough for us to be proud of it and stuff. I think Danny can tell that it's missing a few bits. I think the annoying thing with Sheffield United...
If that was Sunderland, right? I know we lost to Sunderland earlier in the season 4-0. Actually, that's a bloody good point. Level on points with United. We lost to Sunderland 4-0. We lost to United 1-0.
We lost the league 2-0.
Yeah, but if you look at like, if you said that was, if you put Sunderland as the name rather than Sheffield United, you go, well, look where they are. You know, we're not too far off it, actually. We're miles off it in terms of the player quality and the finances and the structure. But in terms of the actual way we played today, we gave them a game. And it's not like we're not a small club giving them a game. It's a case of in the position we're currently in, we actually could have easily competed with them with much less financial backing. And it's just funny because if you go back to Chris Wilder talking about 40 grand hitters a long time ago, now it's the complete opposite, you know? And we gave him a bloody good game.
And I think the other thing, you look at the top six. Watford battered us because we were just bad day at the office.
Yeah, that was an anomaly. Yeah.
We won 3-2. Burnley lost 2-0. Leeds lost 2-0. Sheffield United lost 1-0. Sunderland 4.
Yep.
It's not great when you think about you hearing all those things come off, but here's the thing. It was a game which you can look at and go, okay, where do we improve next? How do we get that? I think the only annoying thing that you're looking at it from a rival perspective, they're about to have yet another potential takeover, which will take them to that next level we want to be. And I think that's where our situation goes from being, it's not about what we can do on the pitch now. I think we're at max capacity where we can go on the pitch. We're missing that extra bit behind the scenes now.
Yeah, and it comes to the saying of like a lot of people saying we should have started Smith today. I feel like if we'd have gone direct early on, we'd have struggled. Because the way they played in the first half with that slow build-up and looking to counter, we'd have gone too direct. I reckon we'd have struggled a little bit. What happened is they changed the intensity in the second half, and when that changed, the direct approach was needed because we struggled to cope.
Yeah.
For about 10 minutes. And when we changed it, we didn't as much. So
we were all coming into this game a bit worried, let's be honest. We were all a little bit. Last week we were a bit worried.
It could have been a Watford. If it was a Watford, we'd never live it down. But you're looking at Wilder, obviously. I can never disrespect someone's passion for it, but it looks like he just won the bloody league, right? And it's like, I'd look like that if I was the manager of Wednesday and we'd just beaten United. I get it. But it's also a case of, it's probably relief half of that jump because you should be beating us.
Yeah.
And actually,
I think for him it
wasn't that convincing.
I think for him it'll be, why the hell did we not have more chances apart from that one? But that had been United all season. United all season had got smash and grabs, the odd win, or got it right at the death. The stat that annoyed me, and it got to change. That is the 7th time that we conceded in 15 minutes of the second half. That needs to change. We can't keep being this second half team that concedes that quickly. It needs to be, as soon as we go into the thing, as we're leaving, it needs to be written somewhere. Do not concede. Can we don't wake up? Are you just in the picture?
That just sounds so Ted Lasso. Just like, oh yeah, lads, by the way, don't concede.
But it is though, isn't it? If you look at it, it very much that whole thing is going.
It's not like he's in the tunnel going, all right, lads, you know what? This first 15 minutes don't matter if we concede. I'm pretty sure sure it's an unwritten rule,
No,
Jay.
I know it's an unwritten rule, but it does feel like as soon as they step over that white line, everything Danny just said is gone. It's like they get tunnel vision. In the first 15 minutes of second half, we never look great. We look slow. We look like we're still in the dressing room. It always takes a goal for us to wake up and go, oh, we need to crack on now. Does that make sense?
It does. But yeah, do you know what? There's not a whole lot to talk about the derby because it wasn't a spectacle. It was a close game.
It felt so weird.
It could have gone either way in the end. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
So let's get to the championship review then. So Watford 1, Oxford 0. Cardiff 1, Blackburn Rovers.
Midweek.
Where's the midweek stuff? Oh, it's there. I can't read. Okay, midweek first. Oxford 1, Hull City 0. Oxford doing the bit there. QPR 1, Middlesbrough 4. Wednesday 2, Norwich 0. Plymouth 1, Portsmouth 0. Swansea 1, Watford 0.
Also,
good result for Swansea,
that one, I spoke to a Watford fan who said, this is why we're not taking the smashing of you so massively serious. Because we're the same as you. We can go and beat
They had one player that was fantastic against us and he scored 4.
Yeah.
Coventry 1, Derby 2. Blackburn 0, Stoke 2. Millwall 1, Leeds 0. Good result for Millwall. Yeah. Preston 0, Sunderland 0. Luton Town 1, Cardiff City 0. West Brom 0, Burnley 0. And then we go into the weekend, which is Watford 1, Oxford 0. Cardiff 1, Blackburn 3. Middlesbrough 5. Luton Town 1. Luton Town could very much be heading to League One if they're not careful. They've done exactly what you don't want to do when you get relegated from the Prem.
They're kind
Stoke
of doing a
1, Millwall 1
years ago, aren't they?
Yep. Stoke 1, Millwall 1, which is weird with Luton actually, because I thought they bought quite decent championship players, but maybe they've got Premier League egos and it's not working, which can be a problem. Norwich 0, Bristol City 2, Leeds 2, QPR 0, Sunderland 2, Coventry 1.
2-2.
Coventry 2, sorry. Derby 1, Plymouth 1.
By the way, Derby Plymouth, what a goal by Jerry Yates. It's an overhead kick, mate. It like come to his back post. It come to the back post and he just takes it and he nearly scored a Beckham off the halfway line. And it was so close to going over. Their keeper had to scramble. Jerry Yates was just on it yesterday.
That's funny. I'll have to look at that later. Portsmouth 3, Preston 1, United 1, Wednesday 0, Hull 1, West Brom 2, and Burnley Swansea is current. Is it currently?
Yeah, that's currently 0-0. I think that when I hit the thing, it was it's still 0-0. Hull's an interesting one because their fans are not happy. Like, really not happy.
It's almost as if they sacked a manager when they shouldn't have sacked the manager.
Yep.
They're 19th on 15 points. So here's how the table looks. QPR are rock bottom with 10 points. Portsmouth are just above them with 12 points. Cardiff are on 15 points. So 15 points is the relegation spot. 4 teams are on 15 points. Cardiff, Luton, Preston and Hull.
Yep.
And above them on 16 are Plymouth and Coventry. And above them are Oxford on 17. And then 18 points is us and Norwich after today.
Yep.
So we're in 15th there. Then 1 point above is 2 teams again, Stoke and Derby.
So tight.
That's 13th and 12th. And then you go a point above. So 2 points above us, you've got Swansea in 11th on 20 points. Then Bristol City in 10th on 22, along with Blackburn Rovers in 9th on 22. Millwall 23 and 8th. Middlesbrough 7th on 24. Watford on 25, making the playoffs. But the playoffs, 4th to 6th, they're all on 25 points. That's Burnley, West Brom and Watford. Sunderland and Sheffield United on 31 points, top and second there, and Leeds on 29. So,
it's so
if you look at the table, we are 3 points off relegation, right? And we are now, after today, 7 points off the playoffs. So there's a bit of a sway there.
You have a run, you can be anywhere near that top.
Exactly. But you had a bad run,
you can be
bottom.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
This is why the Championship is the best league in the world. It's one of those excitings.
It's not to watch. I'm not going to lie. It's not to watch. I prefer watching elite football, but being a Wednesday fan, it's always an interesting watch. I'm not a massive fan of the Championship, watching it in general.
Yeah.
But because it's mad, so I hate my team being in it, but it's better than being in League One.
So if you want just a quick one from Danny has said he felt that neither team really deserved to win today.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think Wilder will say the same, but it'd be interesting to see what he comes out and says. He's never usually that gracious. He's definitely not gracious in defeat, but he might, I don't know. I don't vibe with Wilder. I like Warnock, but I don't like Wilder. That says something, doesn't it?
Net 3 games are interesting though, mate. It's Cardiff, Hull, Derby, and then Preston start of December.
Yeah, well, it's the international break now.
Yep. We get to go look at how
we're going to talk next episode about all the matches coming up because we don't really need to talk about them today. But it could be quite a few points available for Wednesday if we spend this time. We've got players back on the grass. We could have some stability if Chalobah can stay fit. He might be back properly after the international break. Could be looking all right as we head into the Christmas rush where there's going to be a lot of games, so we're going to need that cover. I'd worry about us defensively. But, Jake, a bit of a shorter podcast today, but there's been plenty of content with the Steel City Derby. Anything to add before we wrap up today?
I just say don't let this result think it defines the season. We don't. I think we gave a good account of ourselves. And if we're looking at where we said we want to be, 15th so far, a lot of people would take that right now just to be where we were. All I'll say is remember where we were last season. That's what I'll say.
I'd have taken it at the start of the season, and I'd take it now. So, yeah, it's not as woeful as it could be. And that game could have gone either way. Let's hope when it comes to the Hillsborough fixture, we're in a good place to give them another bloody good game. And I don't look forward to it because I don't want Steel City derbies while we're in a transition, but that's what we're dealing with. So we will move on to that. We will see you during the international break to talk things, and there will be the draft update as well.
God.
If you're an extra subscriber, you will get it first. We'll see how. You're saying, oh God, I haven't tallied any of the bloody points yet, mate. That's going to take it all evening. Right, anyway.
A bottle of wine.
Yeah, exactly. Take care, guys, and we will see you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.
See ya.